Ever get the feeling like we're missing part of the story?
I know what you mean.
Like we think we're looking at the full picture?
There's always something more to it.
Exactly. And today's deep dive, well, it's all about those hidden layers. We're going back to the Renaissance.
A time of incredible artistic innovation.
Absolutely. But it was also a time when artists were finding really clever ways to promote themselves, to
Sneak their own faces into their artwork.
seriously, they were hiding in plain sight. And, these weren't just quick cameos or anything.
No, these were deliberate self-portraits hidden in some of the most famous works of art from the period.
Exactly. And they can tell us so much, they give us a glimpse into the minds of these artists.
Their ambitions, their anxieties.
Even their sense of humor.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so, to kick things off, let's talk about Jean Fouquet.
A French painter working in the mid-1400s.
Right. And we have this self-portrait medallion he did.
Which, on the surface, might not seem that unusual.
True, but this medallion is considered the first signed self-portrait in Western art.
It's a big deal. Like he's saying, this is me, Jean Fouquet, and I made this.
It's so bold for the time. I mean, what do you make of that signature?
It speaks volumes about how the role of the artist was changing during the Renaissance.
How so?
Well before, they were seen as craftsmen, more like anonymous artisans.
Right.
But Fouquet, he's putting his name out there, claiming his work and his individuality.
Like, I'm not just a nameless artist, I'm Jean Fouquet.
Exactly. And it's a statement that would have a lasting impact.
Now, this medallion, it wasn't just a standalone piece, right? It gets even more interesting.
It was part of a diptych.
Diptych?
Yeah, two panels presented together.
Yeah.
Think of it like an old-school double-sided artwork.
Okay, I get it. So what was on the other panel?
Well, it depicted a woman widely believed to be Agnes Sorel.
And she was.
The mistress of the French king. And quite a controversial figure at that.
In what way?
Well, she was known for her beauty, her fashion sense, even considered a trendsetter.
Really? How so?
For one, she dared to bare one breast in her portraits, which was pretty scandalous for the time.
Wow. So we have Fouquet, he's linking his self-portrait to this provocative figure.
And it doesn't end there.
What else?
There are theories that the angels in the Madonna panel represent the king's children.
You mean including the children he had with Agnes Sorel?
Exactly. Talk about a scandalous story hidden in plain sight. It's like a Renaissance soap opera.
And Fouquet, he wasn't alone in weaving these little secrets into his work.
Oh, not at all. This was actually a surprisingly common practice.
Really? You have any other examples?
Definitely. Take Cristofano Allori, an Italian painter. He used the biblical story of Judith with the head of Holofernes for a rather, shall we say, unique family portrait.
Unique might be putting it lightly. Allori actually painted himself as the severed head of Holofernes. His wife is Judith, and his mother-in-law is the servant.
I know. It's pretty out there.
It really makes you wonder about their family dynamics, doesn't it? But why would he choose such a morbid scene for a family portrait?
Well, it speaks to the dark humor that was often present in Renaissance art.
Dark humor?
Yeah. They used biblical scenes, these very serious stories, to express something deeply personal, even humorous.
Okay, I see. So it's not as straightforward as it looks.
Exactly. You have to remember, these artists were real people, just like us. They had a sense of humor, even if it was, morbid at times.
And speaking of audacious moves, what about Michelangelo, or, not Michelangelo, but,
Michel Colomb.
Yes, Michel Colomb, that's who I meant. He really took this hidden self-portrait thing to another level.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about Queen Anne of Brittany's tomb, a massive commission.
And he put his face on that.
He did. The tomb was adorned with these statues representing virtues like prudence, justice, temperance.
All very serious, very somber.
Exactly. And nestled among these figures of virtue is Colomb himself. Yes. His face is staring out from the statue of Prudence, right next to the Queen's likeness.
Wow. The guts that must have taken. I mean, he was risking the Queen's favor, wasn't he?
Potentially, yes. But it also speaks to the unique relationship between artists and their patrons at the time.
So it was more collaborative.
In a way, yes. There had to be a level of trust there for Colomb to feel comfortable, inserting himself into such an important monument.
That's a good point. It's like he's saying, I'm not just a hired hand. I'm an artist with ideas, and I deserve to be seen.
Exactly. It shows the growing status of artists during this time.
Now, what about the real masters, like Leonardo da Vinci? Did he do this hidden self-portrait thing too?
Well, we have that famous self-portrait he did later in life.
Right, but that feels different. Like, it's a self-portrait. It's not hidden.
You're right. It's more of a traditional portrait. But his presence is definitely felt in other works.
Like what?
Well, there's a theory that Da Vinci was the model for Plato in Raphael's school of Athens.
Wait, really? So even the greats were, like, paying homage to each other, hiding each other in their artwork?
In a way, yes. It's like they're all part of this grand artistic conversation, their legacies intertwined.
And speaking of Raphael, wasn't he in that fresco too?
He was, painted himself as Apelles, no less.
Who is Apelles again?
A legendary Greek painter. Talk about aligning yourself with greatness.
Wow. Okay, so it wasn't just about sneaking themselves in for fun. There was clearly something more to it.
Definitely. These self-portraits were about so much more than just ego. They offer us a glimpse into the artist's minds, their aspirations, their anxieties, even their place in a world that was changing rapidly around them.
And they really wanted to leave their mark, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. They wanted to be
Yeah.
remembered.
It's kind of like today,
What do you mean?
Well, we take selfies, we craft our online personas.
We leave our digital footprints everywhere.
Exactly. It's our way of saying, I was here.
And who knows what people will make of our digital selves centuries from now? Maybe they'll be analyzing our selfies, trying to decode the stories behind our smiles.
That's an interesting thought. What will our digital self-portraits say about us in the centuries to come? It's something to think about, isn't it? Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that. Until next time.